What is going on, guys? This is Daniel, and in Game 3, the Raptors beat the Heat to take a 2-1 lead in the series, so let's get to my breakdown of the game. Early in the game, Valanciunas was a monster on the offensive glass, as he has been this whole series, and that has been a big edge for the Raptors against the Heat, but with Valanciunas now out for the rest of the series with an ankle injury, Biyombo will have to step up. Both teams are pretty uncreative when it comes to play calling, but the Heat did run this one nice play out of a timeout, a little motion first, and then they'll set up a pin down for Wade into a dribble handoff, good action, and here when DeMarre Carroll overplays Wade backdoor cuts to the basket for a layup, a mistake by Carroll considering Wade is a well-known excellent cutter. Like any smart team, the Heat have gone under DeMar DeRozan's pick and rolls, and it has pretty much been a train wreck for Toronto. DeRozan is forced to take a lot of tough mid-range shots, some of which go in, but most of which do not. What I saw the Raptors do successfully once, and what they should do more often, is after the initial screen, re-screen, and here it gets Dang going over the screen, forcing Hassan to step up, which frees up Biyombo on the roll. These long off-the-dribble twos are shots the Heat are more than willing to give up as they are not very efficient, and here again he'll take a long two, though he will get the rebound but then charge into Haslam, and this was a pretty atrocious call. Haslam is clearly in the restricted area. But let's give a lot of credit to Luol Deng, who is the main defender guarding DeRozan for the game, and he has done a nice job of sliding under these screens and forcing tough shots. Notice how Deng will also go under off-ball down screens for DeRozan, shooting the gap and preventing DeMar from getting a drive toward the middle. One better option is a Patrick Patterson pick and pop, and here he pops for a 3. This time the Heat will switch the action, so Haslam is guarding Lowry, and Lowry takes advantage of that here. This is nice too, a double drag screen for Lowry with Patterson popping, and here Lowry can come off the two screens and hit a 3. What makes Patterson good is not only can he hit the open pick and pop 3, but if you run him off the 3-point line, he can also put it on the floor and then pass it, or here, finish at the basket. And this is nice, they'll have Lowry screen for DeRozan on the ball, which creates confusion for the defense, and Lowry pops for an open 3. And for the rest of the series, if Joe Johnson is ever guarding Terrence Ross, the Raptors should take advantage of this and run Ross off screens as Johnson cannot hang with Ross, and here they do this and Ross gets a layup. And if DeRozan is going to run a pick and roll, at least do it with off-ball action, which they do here as Lowry sets a flare screen for Patterson that creates confusion and Lowry hits a 3. In case you missed the game, Ross had 4 turnovers in 19 minutes and all of them could have been avoided, and here coming off a screen, he simply makes a poor pass and they turn it over. Handling the ball here, he steps out of bounds as he has trouble with a basic hedge. And he also had 2 turnovers in the backcourt in the second half, which were not good. Here trying to pass it ahead, it gets stolen, which results in a bucket. Give him credit here as he does get the steal first, but then he tries to outlet it to Patrick Patterson, who of course was not expecting it. Now let's talk a bit about defense, and before Valanciunas had to exit with his injury, he played good pick and roll defense, here contesting the miss. Dragic attacks him here, but Valanciunas blocks it and they get a jump ball. I've noticed in the past he has struggled with pick and roll defense, but in this game he was stout. On this play he'll contain the ball, recover to contest the miss, and then save it off of Stoudemire. Even when Lowry isn't playing well offensively, he makes an impact with his defense, and here he strips the ball loose, which forces the turnover. Bad pass on offense, but then look at the hustle as he sprints back to contest the Luol Deng miss. He has good hands, and here he comes from behind to poke it away from Dragic, which results in a layup for Lowry. Though in the fourth quarter he did commit this dumb foul, handing Joe Johnson 2 free throws. So besides Whiteside, the Heat have 3 big men who they've been rotating back and forth to back up Whiteside. But if Whiteside misses games, this becomes a serious conundrum because these 3 options are all bad. Of these options, I prefer Haslam simply because he's the best defender of the trio. The problem with McRoberts is that he doesn't add any rim protection, so guards can simply attack him and shoot over him. When he's in the game, the basket is very vulnerable. Though to his credit, he did come up with this one really nice play where he did protect the rim, blocking Valanciunas. And I just want to be clear about one thing. I like McRoberts as a stretch 4 when he's shooting well. He's only shooting 24% from 3, so playing him at center without the shooting, it really hurts the team. Stoudemire is not much better, as here he provides no rim protection. And this was just tough to watch. He comes way too high on a pick and roll for no reason, allowing Corey Joseph to blow right by him. Previously, when Valanciunas was healthy, the Raptors always had one of these 2 players on the floor, so the Heat pretty much had to have a big man in there at all times or they'd get killed on the offensive glass even more than they already were. But now, because of the injury, there will be times when one of these 4 players is playing center for the Raptors, and none of them are the interior presence of either Valanciunas or Biyombo. So what I'm saying is there will be times when the Heat can go to a smaller lineup with no traditional big man and thrive because they can switch everything on defense. Also, if I were the Raptors, I would only play Patterson of this group, as none of the other 3 players are particularly good, and instead of giving minutes to them, I would give the leftover minutes to Norman Powell, Corey Joseph, and simply go smaller at times. Now back to game 3, Wade kept them in it by scoring 18 points in the third quarter, and in the early part of the third he was simply just being aggressive, attacking the basket and drawing fouls. And then later in the third, he started hitting jump shots, 2 threes, and then 2 very tough mid-range shots. And as a defense, there really isn't much you can do about these kinds of shots. Late in the game, the Raptors pretty much won because Kyle Lowry had 3 big plays, a 3 there, then later he attacked the basket hard, drawing a foul. And then he hit a very tough mid-range shot over Wade with under 40 seconds. Down 3 with 24 seconds left, the Heat still had a chance to tie, and they got what they wanted. Carroll helped 1 pass away off a 3-point shooter, and Wade made a nice pass, but Johnson just couldn't hit it, and that's the difference. Well, there you have it, guys. Valanciunas is out, but the Raptors do have solid backups. The Heat do not have good backups for Whiteside, so if he misses time, I doubt the Heat win this series. But if he plays and looks like Whiteside, I think it's likely the Heat still do win this series. Well, thanks for watching, and see you next time.